Hey guys, it's Zach with Talk of Sinners here. God has been good in the sense that He has renewed in me the sense to continue with my Talk of Sinners series. For those of you that are new, have not followed me, I set out to do a 365 for Christ series, which is 365 audio blogs in 1 year's time. A brief synopsis of what had happened here is I lost interest. I was in a slump, and I didn't run from God, but I lost my effectiveness for God due to starting to focus my eyes on different things. So one thing I want to talk about is how to restore your passion. How to fill your spiritual tank when it is empty. Now, I know I'm going to butcher this because this is a live cast. I don't do any research. I shouldn't say that. It starts in my head. Well, it starts in prayer, comes into my head, into my heart, and then into the Bible. And I pull out all of my resources through there. But I'm going to butcher the crap out of this. But I think it's fitting to talk about. I was reading, or actually listening to American Family Radio, and they were talking about this exact issue. What happens when your spiritual tank is empty? And you think of it in the sense that when someone is sick and they starve themselves, and this is a part I might butcher. When someone is sick and they starve them, or their body becomes starved. Not that they're starving themselves, but just because they're sick. They're not eating. Whenever they start to get better, they slowly build up their appetite. But if they take too much, then they get sick and they throw up. Because their body isn't used to this. Now, actually, scratch what I heard on the radio show, because I think I like this, and this I'm not going to butcher. Okay, somebody gets sick, they stop eating because they're sick. They slowly start to get better, so they slowly start eating, right? They slowly start eating, they might eat too much, and what happens is they throw up because their body cannot handle all of this at once. Alright, so here's an interesting way to look at it. The good comes in, and the bad comes out. You're being purged of your sinfulness. You're being purged of all of the garbage that caused you to become sick in the first place, maybe. You put good in, bad comes out. You put good in, bad comes out. Eventually, you're filled with good, and you stop throwing up. The purge of the evilness and the purge of the despair comes out, and you're back to being healthy, to being spiritually full. Now, what do I mean in saying this? Well, I want to touch on James 4, verse 8. Come near to God, and He'll come near to you. Verse 7, actually, I'll read too. Submit yourselves then to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Come near to God, and He will come near to you. So when we're sick, we submit ourselves to the world. When our spiritual tank is empty, it's generally because we have submitted our eyes and our hearts and our focus away from God and onto something else, whether that be anything worldly. That's what causes our tanks to be emptied. So when we're sick, we need to come back. We need to come near to God, and He will come near to us. We start with maybe a small prayer. Maybe we can only utter out a few words, such as "God help me," or "Why God," or anything. But we reach out. We submit ourselves to God. The next thing we do is we resist the devil. We do this in asking for God's help and God's protection, saying, Father, I've been sinful. I need to turn my eyes from everything that is worldly and focus on you completely, God. I need to know I need you near. I need you near. Sorry, that didn't make a lot of sense. But, okay, so when we resist the devil with the help of Christ, with the help of our Lord Almighty, the devil will flee from us. Right, Poopy? It's the dog behind me. The devil will flee from us. So we have a threefold process. First, we're submitting ourselves to God. Second, once we're submitted to God, we resist the devil. With the help of God, part 3, he'll flee from us. So what happens when that process is complete? Well, God no longer has that, or I should say, we no longer have that interference, that static interference that we've put up. So what happens is God comes near, we come near to God. The devil runs, and God comes near to us. It's a really simple process if you think about it, but the first thing is praying that God, even if it's just 3 words, God help me. You know, even if you can't say it, but you're thinking it. You know, I've been wayward so much that I've been crying so hard that I couldn't even mutter out anything audible for God to hear or to make out. And it's worked. He has intervened in my life, and He has made me new several times. Now, unfortunately, due to our sinful nature, I have been on a spiritual empty tank several times in my life, and some worse than others. But the point I'm trying to get is that we need to start by asking God to fight this battle for us. We need to submit. We need to resist the devil, and know that he will run from us because he's powerless in the hands, in the eyes of Christ. The devil cannot harm you. So let's read on here. James 4. Right after, verse 8. Come near to God, and He'll come near to you. Wash your hands, you sinners, and purify your hearts, you double-minded. And purify your hearts, you double-minded. Grieve, mourn, and wail. Change your laughter to mourning, and your joy to gloom. Humble yourselves before the Lord, and He will lift you up. So what does this say to me? This says that we need to be completely focused on the Lord, knowing that He is the true source of happiness. We need to humble ourselves, and He will lift us up. The reason I think we fall is because we don't allow God to lift us up. We allow going shopping, a little bit of retail therapy, to lift us up. We just rely on so many things except for God. And with that in mind, I issue each of you, anybody listening, a challenge. I issue a challenge to humble yourself before God. Know that may bring hard times, but in doing so, know that the devil will flee. And in essence, your spiritual tank will be full. I would love to talk more because I think it's really helping me just to do these audio casts and just to put my heart into this. But I have nothing else to say about this matter. So I'm going to go into prayer, and I'm going to ask God to continue to not just me, but to anybody listening, anybody that's struggling, to just renew them and just fill them with the Spirit so they may turn from everything that's getting them down, and just know that Christ is the author of salvation, and He is the solid rock that will get everything back on track. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.